this amount of underworld emotion is so present in your field because you hold the key. The way you sit with pain is how you sit with pleasure. The way you sit with absence is how you sit with presence. The way you experience poverty is the way you experience wealth. Life loves a good fucking plot twist. Remember that, my love. When it comes to orgasmic bliss, everything will be brought up, right? Orgasms open the door, and we can't decide what walks through this door. And if there is this immensity of unresolved pain, we block ourselves from pleasure because we're like, oh, I can't touch that yet. But when you become masterful at transmuting this pain, at walking this pain home, you become masterful in holding pleasure. Hi, mommy. This channel is my digital love letter to the Empress energetics within all of us. And the Empress energetics is the exquisite mastery of sovereign creation. And for this, we become our own inner shamani. And today, we're going to travel into the underworld. And if we look at it from a shamanic perspective, we have the realm, the lower realm, which consists of despair, fear, hopelessness. All these heavy emotions reside here. And we have the middle realm, which is the realm of the heart, the realm of love. And then we have the upper realm, which is the realm of gratitude, the heavenly realms, if you wish so. And with this time that we're moving through, it's around Thanksgiving. For me, this has always been the time, at least in the past years, where a lot of heaviness comes to the surface to be looked at and to be walked home. In today's video, we're going to do this together. And a lot of times we are concerned with pleasure, right? We talk about pleasure, we talk about the erotic, and we're calling in a beautiful depth, a beautiful ecstasy and blissful emotions. And any time we call in pleasure, what we're actually calling in is to become masterful with our pain. And this is where our shamanic perception comes in. The way you sit with your pain is the way you sit with your pleasure. So if we're looking for a fulfilling sensual experience, we're also looking for mastery in our sorrow and our pain. We can't experience orgasms, right, without looking at what's beneath, what's below, what's in the underworld. And so many women are asking for a more fulfilled sexual experience. They're asking for more beauty and more pleasure in their life. And what we often find right below is untouched grief, untouched pain. And so there is this wall of pain in between the pleasure, right? And oftentimes this results in numbness. We oftentimes feel numb and we can't receive pleasure because there is pain in between that we haven't looked at. And when we activate this inner warrioress, when we activate this ancient shamanic perspective, we're not afraid of pain. We learn how to sit with the pain. And not only do we learn how to sit with the pain, we learn how to deeply embrace that. And I'm not just saying that because ecstasy and deep sorrow is just one moment away, right? It's like very closely related. It's almost a seamless experience. And you've had that. If you've cried your heart and your eyes out for hours on end, there is a door that opens that feels like heavenly bliss. It feels almost ecstatic. This is how closely pain and pleasure are connected. And in order to feel into this pain, we need to activate our voice. And the reason for that is that most of the pain we feel is ancient. It's pain that is beyond any words spoken. We carry the pain of this planet within us. We carry the planetary body in us, and with that, our planetary body has a shared emotional body. And that emotional body carries pain that is beyond any word that we could ever speak. So regardless of how much of journaling you're doing or how much you're speaking about pain, there is something that will be left untouched here. This is where our voice comes in. I know a lot of us can feel this immense wall around our heart at times. Right? This is the wall that prevents us from actually receiving the love that life has to give, the love that people around us have to give. And we can't really perceive reality for what it is with this immense tension around our heart. And what I have found is that the only way to release this wall is through song, is through our unique song. No words spoken, but vibrations felt. And when we lose ourselves in song, when we activate our voice again, this wall is starting to melt away. And oftentimes, beneath this tension, there is anger, there is harshness, but the deeper we go, we will find sadness. And the moment we touch that sadness, this is when the actual transmutation happens. And these walls can only be broken loose through our voice. And for all of us that experience this sensation of a blocked throat, this experience like we can't express our totality, it's because we haven't given pain a voice yet. And our voice is the greatest shamanic tool we hold. I mean, dance is pretty powerful. But our voice is unlike anything else. Our voice is literally the bridge from the underworld into the heavenly realms. So when we start to use our voice, we are able to walk very dense, very heavy emotions back home. There are certain frequencies of pain that can only be transmuted through you, that can only be transmuted through your vessel. You are experiencing a very unique karmic caste system. We're all born into an energetic or karmic caste system. That means we are born into a certain dimension that only we can touch, a dimension including our bloodline, including our past experiences, including our unique energetic makeup. And that means that we hold the key for unique pain, unique planetary pains. And when we start to use this key, which is our voice, we unlock so much beauty because we can actually free this pain and transport it into the upper realms. This is why every single woman and every single person, in fact, has to find their voice again. And you can do this with sound exploration. Literally just feel what wants to come up. What sound does your body want to make right now? When you feel this numbness, play with your voice. There will be a note that will give you goosebumps. There will be a note that will touch you deeper than all the other notes. And that's when you're starting to hit that pocket. And then ride that wave. And eventually you will feel tears come up. You will feel your whole body being touched. This is the moment when we free emotions from the underworld and bring them back home. For this exploration, I would like for us to look at these emotions, the pain, the sorrow, the hopelessness, the despair, as entities. Now, let me get into what I mean by that. Rather than identifying with the pain, let's identify the pain. Because all of these emotions come with a specific voice. They come with a specific frequency that is not necessarily your essence or your soul. And so as we dive into this exploration, as if there is a different persona coming through, as if there is an entity knocking on a door, wanting to be walked home, right? Rather than saying, oh, I'm in pain, let's say, oh, wait, I feel an entity of pain knocking on my door. It wants to be brought home. So now what we oftentimes do is we identify with that pain, and this is the moment we go numb. We get scared, we don't know how to hold it. This is when we start to distract ourselves. That's not the way of the shamani. The inner warrioress is never scared of pain because she has so much strength and motherly love and all the tools she needs to actually walk the pain home, right? So if you are curious, if you look at that emotion like something that just entered your field rather than something that's a part of you, you get to be curious. You get to listen to the voice. What's that pain saying? What's that pain saying about you, but actually about itself? If that was a persona, how would it look like? And you will always find a face to that voice, a voice to that emotion. And that is starting to get really interesting because now you see that this is not you, but you actually see that this is somehow at some point summoned into being. And now we're getting a little deeper. And I'm going to take the Second World War as an example. My roots are in Germany. I only left Germany 5 years ago. And only those who grew up in that country know the immense hopelessness in the people there. There's a darkness, there's a sadness that you can only grasp if you live there. And so, in the Second World War, there was a portal opened. War opens portals. War creates dark portals for underworld frequencies. Because I'm not sure if sorrow, hopelessness, despair is an actual experience of our soul. It almost feels created or artificial, at least this amount of sorrow that we experience in this incarnation feels artificially created. So let's go back to the Second World War example. Germany opened a portal, and Germany created this immense image of sorrow, hopelessness, and pain. Right? And if we look at all of the people in concentration camps that were so skinny, and if you looked into their eyes, if you looked into their faces, all you would see was death and sorrow and pain and despair, and really just the absolute disgustingness of what humans are capable of doing, or what demonic forces and satanic forces are capable of doing to humanity, more so because I don't feel like this is human. I feel like this is a satanic energy that entered our consciousness. And so in that Second World War, there was this immense picture of pain created that wasn't natural. It wasn't natural. And now that was inflicted onto our grandparents. And now the same happened to Native Americans, right? There's examples all over the world. I'm just giving this example because it's close to my home and it's something that I've experienced. But you can take, like, every single country is dealing with that in some form. And so for Germans, rather than feeling hopelessness as an emotion that passes, our generations have become obsessed and possessed with sorrow. So now hopelessness, despair, sorrow, guilt, shame is not something that is moving through their emotional body from time to time. It has become part of their existence. They have been possessed by it. And that's why I want us to look at it as an entity. If we do not know how to move these emotions, we can become identified with them. We can become possessed by them. And so for you, I want you to be really honest with yourself. Have you been possessed by fear? Have you been possessed by sorrow? Have you been possessed by hopelessness and despair? Because let me tell you very clearly, these emotions are not part of your soul or your essence. Yes, as a human being, you will experience them, but as the shamani, you will walk them home rather than identify with them or allow yourself to be possessed by them and have them rule your life. Okay, this is really, really deep. And for that, we have to become masterful at our shamanic perception. Where is this coming from? When has this entered your field? When has this entered your mother's or your father's field? When has this entered your grandparents' field? Who created this image of pain? Who created this image of sorrow? And so the moment we can identify when this portal for these immense underworld emotions was opened, we can walk them back home. Right now we see that, wait, this despair has a face. This amount of hopelessness has a voice that isn't mine, nor is it my soul's. Who are you? When did you originate? Let me walk you home. Because let's go as far as this. These emotions are so present in your field because you hold the key to walk them home. And all along, you falsely identified with them. You thought they were part of you. You were scared of them. You pushed them away, and with that, maybe pushed pleasure away. Because you're like, oh my God, what happens when I open this box of Pandora? Will the pain ever stop? Yes, it will. Or it doesn't even have to stop because you know what to do with it. And now this amount of underworld emotion is so present in your field because you hold the key. And part of that is your voice, right? The moment you see that this pain is an entity, it is a persona, it has a face, it has its own unique thoughts and its voice. You can see it as a child, and it's knocking on your door, because this is where the energetic caste system comes in again. You were born into a very specific frequency. You hold a very specific frequency. So only you are able to walk these specific emotions home. And with that, that is the transmutation work. Now, what do you think would happen if all of humanity would look at pain this way? Would look at pain like the child that got lost, and we'll bring it home. We'll bring it home with our voice. We bring it home with dance. We tell that pain, hey, I have no idea how hard that must have been. I'm here to walk you home. I'm here to bring you home. And with that, we're raising the underbelly. We're raising hell, right? We're bringing the underworld dimensions up and up and up and up until that immense pain, sorrow, grief is no longer part of humanity. But for that, we can't be afraid to look at it. And we also can no longer identify with it. We have to become more ascended in our perception of pain and these underworld feelings. As for now, they are part of humanity. But that doesn't mean that they are you. They linger in the collective subconscious, right? Picture it as all of these ghosts that are stuck and they want to be brought home. They deserve their place in heaven. And you hold the key. You hold the unique key. There's a pain that only I can touch because of my ancestry, because of the land that I grew up on, because of the frequencies that I got so familiar with. And the same goes for you. So stop running. And this is also your answer to pleasure. Because when it comes to orgasmic bliss, everything will be brought up, right? Orgasms open the door. and we can't decide what walks through this door. And if there is this immensity of unresolved pain, we block ourselves from pleasure because we're like, oh, I can't touch that yet. But when you become masterful at transmuting this pain, at walking this pain home, you become masterful in holding pleasure, in navigating pleasure, and allowing to receive pleasure. And the first chapter of our life is almost oftentimes the initiation into the underworld. But we're all embarking on a journey in which the next chapter feels like it's right there. We're entering a new dimension, collectively and individually. The first chapter was the initiation into pain, the initiation into the underworld. This is what made you strong. And now, because you're the expert, you're masterful at that, we're stepping into the next chapter. We can now, like I said, raise hell. We can now walk these emotions home. We can now transmute pain into pleasure. We already mastered the underworld. Now we're going to master the middle world and the upper world, the realm of love, the realm of gratitude. That's the path and the initiation of the shamanka, the shamani within you. Coming into these next chapters of love and deep gratitude, you can never fake gratitude, right? I know we work with affirmations. Unless you actually feel them, they don't do anything for your field, right? It's just reciting words. But unless they penetrate, there's no transmutation happening, right? I mean, if you get into a trance and you chant the same affirmations for hours, there might be something happening, but you can feel it in your body, right? Unless something penetrates your being, it's not energetically moving anything. You can feel when something is moved. I'm inviting us all into the gratitude for absence. Absence is teaching lessons that presence fails to teach. So when you feel that, and you can thank life on your knees for the absence of certain things, certain experiences, and you see why they were absent, that's when you can actually touch gratitude. We needed to go through this initiation. We needed to experience absence because it taught us lessons that we couldn't have learned if something was present. And just as an example that I'm currently going through, which shifted all of it for me, there was a moment of opening when I started to feel such immense gratitude for the absence of a stable home. Because now, when this home is present, there is a reverence, there is a sacredness, and there is a joy I hold in my heart that I would have never felt if it wasn't absent for so long. My heart desires a home, right? This is where my next level of creation will happen. Land that I own, land on which my babies can be born, land that is mine, I call mine, land on which I plant every single tree, every bush, every flower. I create it. A home in which I look around and everything is created by me. The frequencies are created by me. The art, the furniture, everything is chosen by me and it reflects my essence. It makes me want to cry to even think about that. But to be able to have such appreciation for that, I had to experience the absence of it all my life. And I recently spoke to someone and he shared about like the 30 trees they have in the garden, and they have apples and 30 different kinds of fruits. And when I heard that, my eyes were literally like glowing because I'm like, wow, this is my dream. And yet for this person, this was so normal. Like, oh yeah, we have this all in the garden. When for me, this is my equivalent of paradise, right? To be able to nourish my body with my own foods and nourish my future babies with my own fruits and trees and all of this. And in that, it hit me of like, wow, because this was always present for this person, he doesn't have the same sense of reverence for it. And in that, he doesn't share that same joy that my heart would share. And do you see now why there was absence in your life? The same goes for your partner or a relationship. Only when you're in this sense of longing, in this sense of absence for so long, there is a gratitude for your divine partner that if it was always present, it maybe would have never cultivated like this. And so instead of asking you to be grateful for everything you have right now, I'm asking you to be grateful for the absence, because the absence is cultivating such an amount of future gratitude that if it was there, you could never experience this joy. And I think you see that in people that grew up having everything or seemingly everything. They don't recognize it as anything special. They're empty because it was always there. It was always present. So let's give thanks to the absence. The way you sit with pain is how you sit with pleasure. The way you sit with absence is how you sit with presence. The way you experience poverty is the way you experience wealth. Life loves a good fucking plot twist. Remember that, my love. You are the ancient Shamani. She is within you. She never left. And for that, you needed to be initiated into the underworld. Next chapter. We crossed that bridge. We made it through this threshold. Now we become masterful at transmuting this. This is your job. So no more running. No more asking for pleasure when we haven't touched the pain. I love you and I honor the immense strength in you. And I honor the very unique energetic caste system that you were born into. And you are meant to liberate. Your voice is the bridge for it. You are the key. Start to use it. Start to see yourself as that and start to take on this responsibility that you have within this vessel and that you have due to the family lineage or bloodline you were born into. Stop running from this responsibility and own it. If you need a space to hold you, if you need someone to be with you so you can go deeper, I'm going to give a discount on my quantum healing sessions. These are my 5-6 hour long deep hypnosis session, the past life regression sessions. You can book a 15-minute free call with me in which I can explain to you what that is if you're truly feeling the call. And I will discount the sessions for the next week so you can have a space and you can dive deeper, because I recognize that for a lot of us, this is a time in which a lot of heaviness comes up, and you're not alone in this. I love you.